Okay, hello everyone. I just had the wrong theme up. That was very professional of me. Right. Okay, so we decided to do another live one tonight. So hopefully all of the sound is working fine. Um, anyway, so thank you all for tuning in. We have quite a lot of bits and pieces to talk through today. We're going to be starting with the weekly hobby update as always. So it's just me and Phil. Phil last week he ventured from the ocean. This week he was up in the mountains. The connection is a lot better, and I know we always have a little bit of a grumble about his internet, but it's definitely better than it was. So, how is that, Phil?
Thanks, man. No, it's good. It's good.
What's the
Remember,
secret?
I don't go to the internet. The internet comes to me.
This was after Elstonation on the Chilling Wargamers, wasn't it? You've had such a big head since being Chuck Norris's brother.
Oh man, yeah. It's a proud moment for me. So thanks, Destination, top man.
Rubbish. Okay. So, because there is only two of us, we're going to get through these questions really quickly. There are some people in the live chat, so if you want to answer any of these as well, feel free to join in at any point, and we'll read out whatever we can. We'll
Yeah,
start with weekly hobby update. So, do you want to go first, Phil, with your stuff, or shall I do mine?
I will go with mine if you want. Hopefully, you've not prepared for that, so this will annoy you or something. Maybe
You just want to irritate me, don't you?
a little bit tonight. Okay. Yes, I've been working on. Very excited with my £130 3D printer and getting the final stages of the Zone Mortalis board done. So the final stages have always been about making lots of doors. Zone Mortalis, I think, is best when it's played on a small game with lots and lots of rooms, and those rooms take time to get through. Blasting the doors open or unlocking the doors, or at least opening and closing the doors. So the battle report we did lacked any doors, so it was quite fast paced and people just moving through gaps. Really wanted to get the doors done. I knew it was going to be a pain because I had lots to do, and that's why I decided to actually try out 3D printing some doors. And luckily, my wonderful wife bought me a budget 3D printer, and I had to go learning some new software, learning some new techniques, making a few doors and printing them out. And I tell you what, for a budget machine, it's been non-stop for about 5 days. And so far, the results are 11 double width doors, the 100mm corridor ones, and I think I've got 12 of the 50mm doors done in a week. They need painting, and I think you've got maybe a bit of video on one of the doors. That's kind of just
Let's
been
see
done with
if
a
it
bit of
works.
test paint.
I'll press it now, and it
We'll
may
see if it
work. It may
works.
well. Oh, there we go. It is working. So this is the.
Okay.
You've not done much painting on it because you kind of threw paint at it on the evening, didn't you?
Yeah, it was really just a test to see what it looked like because I printed them out on the coarsest texture. So this is for those of you who are interested in the tech side of it, that's 0.2mm thickness. So you do see the layers as it's printing. So you do get that little bit of graininess. But I don't mind that because they're meant to be like industrial iron doors. So I don't mind they've got a bit of texture. And on one side of them, you will see a basic prime of black with an overspray of lead belcher and then just throwing some gold at it and a bit of a wash all over it. And on the other side, I just quickly tried sort of a few stains. If I remember rightly, I was using the Minotaur Ghost tint, the oil discharge, I think it's called, which is a lovely name for a paint. And I was just streaking that down and creating streaks on the doors. But super fast effect. Just throw in paint at it to see what would happen. I think there's loads more I can actually do to them to make them stand out. But I'm really pleased with them. Really, really pleased with them.
They look really cool. I mean, you could have done this with plastic hard and built up the effect with rivets and
Oh yeah,
everything else, but the 3D printer just is perfect for projects where you've got to do 100 doors and you want to do them
yeah,
quickly
yeah.
and you just need to batch them out basically.
I think that's the thing. The work involved. There's a big payoff on the work involved. Designing that door was about an hour of learning the software and about an hour of pushing the software around. So sort of 2 hours into designing the door, and then the machine has just been printing pretty much for a solid week. So great stuff. Great stuff because it's just print and forget. I set the next batch going, walk away from it, come back in sort of 3-4 hours time, and there's another 4 doors done. So it's just great stuff.
You're getting really excited with that anyway, aren't you? Every day it's a,
And
oh, I've
a
done
little
another
bit. I'm
four
a
doors.
scenery guy. Yeah, I mean, I'm a scenery guy, so the idea of being able to, hey, you know what? There's a little bit of modeler's angst in there as well. It's like, is this really modeling? Is this, But at the end of the day, this is how a lot of the gaming companies make their models now, isn't it? They're designing in 3D software, so that's what I'm telling myself. But I do feel kind of bad. I've not hacked bits of plastic art together and stuck stuff down, which would have been my normal approach. But for someone like me, that's really precious on, sort of time precious, time sensitive. This is great because it makes big scenery projects a little bit more achievable. I think that's what I'm looking at.
Cool.
I think my camera is shifting focus constantly. I'm getting complaints, so at least we've got some kind of. That's good. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Stephen.
Okay. So is there anything else this week, or do we move on to mine?
No, a little bit on Devil's Run, but not a lot, and we'll do some proper stuff on that later, I think. So no, that's it for this week. That's it for me.
Okay, cool. So my update is I've done a lot more than I did the previous week. I did finally finish Croak, so that's for Rachel's Seraphon army. So I have got a little spinny video of that. Get it loaded. So it was quite a lot of work just chucking down base colours on this, and doing the vines just seemed to take forever. I have done a video of this, so there will be a tutorial up on painting vines in the future, and also using a couple of AK Interactive products just to make the battered weathered stone. It's really easy to do just using a couple of products. I know you don't like the grey, but I quite
No,
like
I
it.
think I like it. I like it.
And there's a lot of bone on this as well, and teeth and skulls and all that rubbish. So it takes absolutely ages painting in all of those lines. So it's now over. I can move on to the rest of the army, which is quite a lot of stuff to do now. I was happy actually when there was only one.
I think it is fabulous, though. It's really great. And
It's
there's a
just
centerpiece
it's a
to
cool
a
little little
Seraphon
model.
army. It's just a great model, isn't it? Just this dead frog hanging around in the middle, nuking everybody with meteorites. Brilliant.
Yeah, and I've got the other one to do, the normal slan, Starmaster, and then there's the skink slan as well. So there's three of these guys that are all on stone chairs that need doing. So he's finished. I'll get rid of that now. The other hobby that I've been doing, so I've done all of the bases for the Seraphon army, and that was quite a quick job. I did them all this afternoon. Built them yesterday, and it's just a mix of resin bases that you cast up, as well as ones that have just got sand and slate and bits and pieces on them. And I just did a very quick brown spray over them. So tomorrow I'll probably get onto dry brushing them, washing them, and then covering them in jungle-looking scenery bits. So they've been done.
Yeah.
And I've done 3 other basing tutorials as well. There's pretty much one, but there's 3 different colours that I've used, and that's all on using bark, which I found at the supermarket. Then it was in the world food section of all places. I was just wandering around doing my normal shopping, and I found some bark in Morrison's. So I bought some. It's like 60p for a bag. It's already been cleaned and there's no mites or bugs or anything on it, because obviously you're going to put it in your food, so you can't be selling that sort of stuff. And you just snap it up, and it smells of cinnamon. So
it's gorgeous. It's proper smelly vision, that stuff. You could just sniff your bases for ages. I like. What's amazing about it is the scale of it. It looks fantastic. That's a great find, isn't it? So, is it cinnamon bark? Is that's why it smells so strongly as cinnamon?
yeah, it's from the cinnamon family, but it is called bark. So that's I thought I'd try it. I like using food on my bases, like herbs and other bits and pieces that I can find. Chuck it on the base, see how it goes.
What's that little green stuff that you had on one of the bases as well that I saw that little green flecks that were really detailed?
I'll do another video on that because
you're holding back on that. Is that a secret?
No, I mean I don't even know if I've got them to hand. That's the problem.
Okay.
Oh, I have. They're in a nice little pink packet as well. Look at that. So these are like little flowery looking things that you're supposed to use on your nails for nail art. And I picked them up on Amazon. They were from China, so they cost about £1 or 150 for a pot like this. And they look perfect for almost like clover or other different flowers. So the Seraphon army, the entire base all of their bases are going to have a mixture of colours, so there'll be whites and yellows and blues and reds, and it'll look like a jungle base, and it's going to have tufts and static grass and everything on it. I'm going to try and go to town on covering them with foliage.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing stuff. It's great scale. Works
perfect,
really well.
and it's so cheap as well. I think
I've
if
just
you
got this. I've just got this vision of you strolling up and down the World Food aisle in Morrison's with your nail art on it.
the thing is, you find products from all the different, like if you look at floristry, the wire that they use in floristry and a lot of the other stuff is usable in our hobby, and you generally find it a lot cheaper if you go to places that aren't marketing it as a modeler's product. You'll find that the price is a lot cheaper. Like if somebody was selling these flowers and they were a normal distributor or manufacturer or whatever of hobby stuff, it would cost like 10 quid for a pot of flowers, as opposed to £1.50 because people just put them on the nails. So yeah, look for places where you can get it cheaper. It's all good.
Top man.
Cool. So that's what we've been doing. We'll go on to Steve says now he's a florist. I'm not a florist. I'm not going to bother giving you examples in future. That's fine.
That's flower power.
Flower power. Yeah.
This is going to be really rude. I need to have a drink. I've had a long day and I'm dehydrated. Is that okay?
So we'll go on to the community picks now. So this is something that we've started this week, and we want to do this every week. And the idea behind it is we've got a Facebook group. If you search for Wargamer Online space community, you'll find the group on Facebook, and you just request to join, you'll get accepted, and then you can post up any sort of progress you've got with your models that you're doing at the minute, or if you want to interact with any conversations that are going on there as well, feel free to. There's not a huge amount of people. I think there's about 30 or 40 people on there. Actually no, there's about 80 now. I don't know. There's a number of people on there. So I asked everybody just to post up a image of either their favourite model they've done or something they've done recently, and we would have a vote and we'd pick our favourites to showcase on here. But instead of just picking them, we've decided to just go with all of them that have been posted this week. So going forwards, we're hoping to have a larger number of people just popping up pictures, and we can go through and we can pick our top 3 or top 1, depends on how many people are on the chat that week. So what I will do is switch to the image slideshow, and it's going to be random, so we'll skip Chris's, we'll come back to it. So the first one on here is Horus by 88 Shadow Angel, so that's his YouTube channel. He's called Matt Dell and he's in the group, and he did a really good job on Horus, so it looks really cool. Actually, you know what, I'm going to slow this down because it's going way too fast.
It's a solid model, that Horus. It's fantastic, isn't it?
He did a really good job.
Paint job as well.
Yeah. Right, we'll skip it. We'll go back around. We'll go to the next one.
It's just the right. Okay.
This is production value again. Okay, so Forge World Night Shroud Bomber. This was by Necron Pharaon. So it's a really nice airbrush scheme on this one. It's got some nice hex patterns on it. You don't actually see that Forge World model pop up that much.
No, you don't, do you? It's a solid model. It's huge. I know because I actually did a little bit of the airbrush work on that. I didn't paint it all by a long way. I just helped with the hex pattern, but it's a brilliant model. That's really great. But you don't see it on the board much, do you? And it's filthy, by the way. You think you'd see it more.
Exactly. So then we've got... we're just talking about it, and maybe the slideshow doesn't work. It's like automatic switch. We'll let it go through.
Just let it go through and we'll talk about them one at a time.
So, I mean, I don't even know what these are. Circle Oberus by Andrew Windsor. I've never even seen the models before, so I don't know what range they're on. If somebody can post that in a comment afterwards just to let us know where they're from. But they're nice looking models. I think he's got a paint commission page as well, so he posts up stuff that he's been working on for that. So they look very cool. Again, little flowery bases. Can never go wrong with leaf flowery
you'd
bases.
appreciate that, wouldn't you?
Flower power, yeah.
Yeah. Solid models. I really like the axes on them. They're incredible.
So now we've got Gazgul Thraka, which is by Chris Reed. And I think he was doing this for his Warlord campaign, where they're all doing pretty much Tale of Four Gamers, and he picked orcs and he's painted
Right.
them up. So he did some really nice dark metallic tones on this with a bit of red stand out. So that's his model. Gone back to
Right.
Horus now. I'm wondering if it's just flickering through the wrong ones, isn't it? Tell you
Hey,
what.
Sam, you know, it's technology for you, mate. You tried your best.
I tried my best and I failed.
Failed. Still, I've got to say that Grayskull, fantastic. Again, another ginormous model. Looks like great big crushy claw. What more can you want?
Yeah, I think we only missed one, so I'll pop that up
Liam's,
now.
I remember Liam's.
He didn't post it in the thread, so it wasn't up there.
Oh, I see. You were only including people who posted
Yeah,
on
I
the
did a
correct
pinned
thread.
post and said if you want to show off your images this week,
Oh,
you basically just chuck it in that thread, and I think he did it separately, so it's not showing up.
Try harder next time.
Try harder next time, Lim. I'll do the pinned post after this or tomorrow. If you've got any pictures, just post it up in that thread, not another thread, and then I can grab it all when it comes to next week. Okay, so the last one we've got is a Nurgle Mauler Fiend by Cragum, Mr. Cragum Gaming. So he's another YouTuber, and he's done a nice conversion on the what are they called? Don't know what they're called. One of the one of the Chaos models from Age of Sigmar. It's not
The brothers, aren't they? Something brothers.
It's not Gutrot
Brothers? No, I
Spume.
don't know. It's not Gutrot Spume, is it?
I don't know. There's loads. There's three of them that you can build it into. I can't remember the name of
Oh, wait, I know. Yeah. The Lords of Decay dudes or
it.
whatever.
Yeah,
they
and
are,
there's normally a
they're
rider.
riding on that.
It looks like
Yeah.
he's chucked some knight armor on the back of it and on its knee pad. So, yeah, nice little one there as well. Okay, so we'll get rid of that one. Now we know that that failed. Next week we can have a little bit of a better one. I'll just load them up individually.
Beautiful paint up there.
Yes. Sorry for
I quite
butchering
like
it.
Yeah. I'm wondering, where are those claws from? Are they off the flyer?
No, not sure.
That go over the back. You know the bugs, the Nurgle bugs.
Nurglings.
The legs off it. No, you know those the Nurgle.
Oh, the flies.
Flyers. Yeah, the flies. I think they're the legs off the flies arching over the back. I really like that. Real political look to it. It's great.
Okay, so we'll go on to the next topic, which is something I'm pretty excited about, which we saw this morning. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'll tell you what else, actually, before we go on to that.
It's that kitten that falls off the table.
Not the kitten, no, I was about to say it was a spider that I saw this morning. This isn't the topic. But do you know what? Have you ever watched Silence of the Lambs? Anthony Hopkins. There's a scene where he strings somebody up. This spider had basically strung up this fly, and it was horrific. I've changed my whole outlook on spiders now. I don't think they're there to protect your house from fly invaders. This thing's butchered a fly in my kitchen, and I just saw it in the corner. It looked like something out of Silence of the Lambs. Anyway, topic. Something else that happened this morning.
Yeah.
Warhammer community released a bunch of pictures for some new dwarf models.
Yeah,
so
they're
called the Caradron. They're not yours. They're not yours. Please don't take them. They're called Caradron Overlords. I think that's how you pronounce it.
They're amazing. I'm in love with them. They're fantastic.
Yeah, I'm properly in love
Don't
with
worry,
them.
Sam. You can do them. I've got enough armies to do. I'll get round to them one day, but I think they're fantastic.
So, have you seen all the pictures?
Yeah. Trawled through the lot. It's great stuff.
I mean, I love them. I love it all.
Yeah, I'm almost lost for words on how many things I like about it. I like the move, the direction they've taken, the steampunk punk aesthetic. I like they've kind of taken probably the technology as far as it will go in Sigmar. I think they're going to be the most technologically advanced race, maybe. I mean, got Seraphim, I know they hang around on spaceships and all the rest and teleport around and things like that. But their weaponry is not as advanced, is it? That's solar powered lasers and stuff like that. And but these guys, I'm hoping they don't take the technology any further than that.
No.
Because I think these guys want to come across as the most technologically advanced, and I don't see why they have any need to. If you look at the races that are yet to get a refresh, the elves and all the rest, I don't think they'll go that direction. So I think it's great that race is in there. I think it's great that faction's in there, and I'm loving the models. No, I don't mind the chainsaw. That's not a problem. I've seen a few people moaning about that,
There's a
saying
lot
it's
of hate
40k.
online as well, actually, on these that I've seen. I've looked at the images, fell in love with them, and then saw people throughout the day complaining. And it's, they're entitled to their opinion. If they don't like them, that's fair enough. But for me, they're definitely the best looking army I've seen in a long time. And I love my fantasy and my Age of Sigmar. But the ships are amazing. I tried to make one of
Yeah,
these Zeppelins years ago and I failed miserably. And now they've done them, I don't need to bother making them again.
I made one out of a ball cock for a toilet. The round ball. It looked great. I mean, I have to say, it looked good. I've still got it somewhere in the loft from when I was a kid, but it didn't look anywhere near as good as what those guys did. Now, like,
Just the
it's
the
just, some of the
shape on them.
details just exquisite. I like that not one bit of skin is showing. These guys are complete ironclads, aren't they? It's just their face plates and everything. To the point where they've got little steel moustaches and steel beards. That's all part of the armor. So I just love it. I love it.
I think,
Um, and there's some great artwork. Did you see the artwork of them where they're fighting against the greater demon?
nah. Oh, might have
And it's
seen
kind
one
of a
bit of it.
mid-air combat. Yeah, it's
I
great.
I just love the
Good stuff.
whole the pirate side of things. The fact that you can just do a bunch of ships in the sky and you could paint these up as really nasty looking pirates, and I just think it's brilliant, the whole background for these. And I think somebody was saying that they basically profited when the age of chaos was happening. So when chaos was pushing everything back and destroying all of the realms and all of the planets that had been set up in the first place, these were just flying around like, yeah, okay, just there's a load of chaos going off over there. Let's just fly in and steal what we can. And I think that's brilliant as well. It's proper
Yeah,
piracy. I love it. So I'm properly looking
yeah.
forward to it.
I even like the little individual jump packs and all the rest. I like what's going on. But you're right. The big ship that we've kind of seen on the artwork has to be the pinnacle, doesn't it? It looks like a multi-decked galleon.
Mm.
Yeah,
The
a
weapons, I
lot of
mean, I'm
fun.
looking at them now. The weapons look great. The face masks look great. It is a shame there is no skin showing because I love painting skin, even if it's just a face or some hands, so I can do some tattoos. I might even. There's nothing. There's no skin. That's the
There's no
only
skip.
gripe. This is the only
That's
thing that
that's.
I've got a problem with, and it's your best thing about them.
But I like that. I like 'cause again, it's like the polar opposite of the fire slayers, isn't it? If you know what I mean.
Oh
These
yeah,
guys, those
definitely.
guys are running around in their underpants, and then these guys don't show one dot of skin. I like it. It's just take it to the far extreme
One of the
and make
units
them as
here,
different as possible.
there's a big. Um, it looks like an organ gun from the dwarf range. So it looks like they've just gone right. Dwarves had an organ gun. What we're going to do with these new ones? And somebody just came up with the idea of just make one hold it in their hands rather than having a big artillery thing that's manned by two dwarf crewmen. They've just put it on somebody now, and he's just firing it from the hip. It's brilliant.
Top man, top man.
The weapons are great. The characters
I
are
mean,
great. They're all
are you
individual.
sure? I'm surprised you're really into them, Sam, because and I know this is a strange comparison to make, but you really got into Necrons for about 15 minutes.
I
So you went
think it was
out and bought
about
a
an
load,
hour.
and okay, it was about an hour. You sprayed one of them up in metallics, and then you messed around with a few washers and a bit of edge highlighting and stuff. And you did the whole thing that you do, which is kind of like, I know it's the standard troop, and I need to do 40 of them, but I'm gonna like edge highlight the eyeball. And and you quickly fell out of love with them, didn't you? Because they were too. I don't know. Is it because they were too simple? Have these guys got more detail on? Is that going to keep you interested? All I'm
These
saying is get into a solid metallic army, and as you've just said, there's not much on these. It's gold and silver, and hitting it with the new washers is probably going to create a pretty solid effect for this army. I mean, I know you're going to be able to take them so much further.
I
The,
think for
the
me
gloss
is going to
washers
be
would work really
picking,
well.
yeah, gloss washers. You're going to be picking a color, so it'll be like their cloth will be a color, so bright blue. Or I love the purple that they've picked. I love purple anyway, so that works perfectly for me. But you pick that color, and then the rest of it you can do a multiple. Well, you can do a variation of metallics. I'm not so keen on the gold armor. I don't think gold works for me. I think I'd do brass and bronze and silvers, and I'd skip gold for maybe leaving it for the heroes that have pillaged the most, and they're the wealthiest pirates among them.
Yeah, I get that. I sometimes don't think there's enough definition between the brass and the silver, though. I mean, it doesn't. to me, sometimes because brass is quite dark, it doesn't always show as well. But I
Hmm.
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Save gold for the more successful sort of hierarchy.
Or even just the
Um,
bits on the front of the ships.
Steve on the chat, there's a few things on Shadow Angel saying other miniatures look great from what we were talking about before. And a little thanks for the comments on his beautiful model. Steve is coming in saying we know what Sam is like with new armies. He changes his mind in a few days. Are you going to change your mind on these, Sam?
I
You
don't know
think?
if I am. If you know what, if they bring out humans or elves, I'll change my mind. But if they're not out before the time I buy these, then I'm not changing my mind. And if I do, I'll do dwarves. I'll do these as well as the elves and the
Do you think
humans.
that's fairly safe? I was surprised by this release, and I probably shouldn't be. I probably should have spent more time on the rumor sites, if you know what I mean. Or maybe stuff isn't showing up on the rumor sites anymore. Maybe that's probably a good future topic. Actually, I'd like to see some think about this. Is what the demise of the rumor site, because GW just moves so quickly now, don't they? Just
I like that GW are bringing out like this morning. It was like Christmas again. I mean, I didn't know anything about them. I woke up to this awesome, like proper,
yeah,
not like somebody taking a picture out the back of their shop or whatever and like smuggling it across to somebody on the internet to upload it. It's not like that. It's proper photos of the models, and you can see them in all of their glory when they're
yeah,
there's no leak. I actually prefer it when GW just release it, and you can see it there and then. When you've got
yeah,
two
yeah.
months of leaked pictures and you don't know if something's an eye or an arm, it loses some of the hype. And you know what? Maybe next week I'll say I'm not bothered about dwarves because it's hit me that hard this morning that I'm so hyped up about these dwarf models because of the pictures. They look great. I mean, the sheer amount of number. I mean, what have you got? There's 4 heroes and there's another hero with a jump pack. There's two different types of normal squads. So one which is like your 10-man squad, one's a 5-man, and then you've got the jump infantry, and then you've got 3 airships. So already you've got a bunch of different models. It's not like there's just 1 or 2 units, is there? Which we
No,
saw with
no.
the Fire Slayers. There was only a handful of models
Kind of
released.
dribbled them out. This looks like a solid release, doesn't it? Do you think it'll be the last we see from Sigmar for a while? Because
I hope not.
everything that's going on with 40k, we're going to see another batch of 3 gathering storms. Maybe. Do you think they're going to come out in 3s?
Yeah, I just think it's
Because
going to
how long
be.
has gathering storm been coming up? That was pretty much 3 months, wasn't it? The last 3 months have been about gathering storm. Is that right?
Yeah, I
I
think
know
it
there's
will
been
go back
releases
onto
in between.
40k, and then you'll have the
Hmm.
what else?
The thing is that Sam, we're talking about these dwarves, but what else happened today? We're seeing this new I can't shadow something the Necromunda re-release essentially.
Yep,
That's got me pretty excited. Have you seen the scenery in that box set?
yeah, Necromunda.
That's just come on, that's incredible. That scenery. That's a great addition to my thick board. Might be having to check that out for 1 or 2 or 3 boxes worth.
Mhm.
They're releasing the rules for a lot of the other factions as well, so that's exciting about DT the Porters, isn't it?
Yep.
For me, it is anyway. I think that'd be great.
It'd be good
So,
if they do it like Necromunda, like a similar sort of thing where you build a. It says it's going to be small squad based gameplay, which is good.
well, they referenced that directly on the community website, didn't they? They said this is carrying over Necromunda rules and building a squad over several games. So I think it is essentially. I think for all intents and purposes, we've got a Necromunda re-release now.
Nordheim Gaming's just said so sad that they didn't remake Necromunda. It is, but I
Yeah,
think they've got that specialist games team at Forge World that may end up just remaking Necromunda. Or this could be almost a port. It could be Necromunda with a different name. We don't know yet.
yeah, well, yeah, we're going to have to see. I mean, he's saying more here. He was over the new Goliath, so the sort of gangs and stuff. Yeah, I see what he's saying because this game is kind of almost pushing to being able to play the standard factions in the city, isn't that right? Rather than the gang
Yeah,
stuff.
he's saying, but I was
Yeah.
hoping for some new Goliaths, etc. Yeah, we just want models of the old stuff again. An Escher gang,
Yeah.
so I can do my bright coloured hair rather than
Oh,
having
they
to
were
do
so
dark Eldar
cool. Come on, they
conversions.
were cool.
They
Yeah,
were
yeah,
cool, and the
yeah,
Delac as well. Delacs are amazing models.
yeah,
The only ones I
yeah.
never liked were the Van Saar.
Mm.
They were like commandos in skin tight trousers.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Didn't do it for me. Goliaths were cool. That was
No.
basically Catachans in a gang in a hive world.
Yeah, big lads.
Yeah. So yeah,
So,
right.
a pretty exciting week again, isn't it? Games Workshop just aren't slowing that pace down.
There's just too
You know.
much. Not too much. It's great. It just means you can buy at your own pace. I like
Yeah.
it. Okay, so
Yeah.
we'll go into one of the questions, one of the topics we've got, rather than just getting really excited about dwarves. Let's do. Okay, so when did you realise you were addicted to wargaming?
Well, shall I go first? I am
Hmm.
not sure I am, Sam. I think I've pretty much got this under control.
Yeah.
Can I take the? Can I just deny? Can I be a denier?
No.
I'm a hobby addiction denier. No, you really want. When am I addicted to it? Um, I was tell the full story. I was into it when I was a kid. It all started when I was about 8 years old. We moved house to a completely new area, and I was the only kid of that age. All the other kids in the area were either a lot younger, like 3 and 4, or they were like 2, 3 years older than me. So obviously, I ended up hanging around with the older group, and one of the guys in there, one of the lads in there, had a copy of Tunnels and Trolls, and I'd read The Hobbit. I'd already read The Hobbit at that time, and then he was kind of explaining to me Tunnels and Trolls. For those of you who are way too young to remember anything about it, was a role playing game. But one of the things he had was a little pewter model of a hobbit, which he painted up as his character. So of course I went out straight away and accidentally bought a pygmy. I thought it was a hobbit, but it turns out I bought the wrong model. I've still got it, by the way. I'm going to have to do a video of that so we can showcase my little pygmy model. And you simply use that as like a token for you could map out the tunnels in Tunnels and Trolls, so you got moving characters around if you like, which helps with the role play. And I pretty much, that was the start, if you like, of the addiction. That was my gateway game. That's what got me into it. And I did start playing Warhammer Fantasy Battle at the first edition, which I've still got a copy of somewhere. And I pretty much left by about third edition of Fantasy Battle. It was huge by then. Everything was getting massive. You got the deed rules and all the rest. And I was well into it, but I did what most people do when they get that age: is I went off and did other stuff. And I thought I'd pretty much, like someone who's given up smoking, got away with it. So I was away from the hobby for years until probably 4 or 5 years ago now. Walked past store with my son, and he asked the most dangerous word. What's all that in there? And that was it. We were in there. We came out with Space Wolves, Eldar, and a bunch of other stuff. And I'd say I realised I was addicted about 10 minutes after walking out that store. To me, how much fun it is. I always remember. I think Will's actually on this channel. I think Will was working in the Games Workshop at the time, and he told me the best way to start an Eldar army was with 2 units of Guardians. And I was, one of the things I did is, like, this time I'm not going to play with unpainted models. I'm going to have the discipline. I'm an adult now. I'll have the discipline to play with painted models. So I went away and spent weeks painting my Eldar Guardians, literally weeks, getting back into it, understanding how to do shading, highlighting, wet blending, all the rest, just bending my head around it all, because it had all long since been forgotten. And I went back in really happy with my 2 units of Guardians to play a game in the store. I was wiped out like first time. And Will turned to me and went, "You don't want those for Eldar, you want that." So he did the classic Games Workshop staff member job on me, I think. So I was immediately upgraded to Dire Avengers and a Rogue Lord, if I remember rightly, and possibly a unit of passes. So yeah, pretty much straight back in. All those old sensations came back. It's fun, the community side of it, the camaraderie, the gaming side of it, the rage, the laughing at your own craziness, the laughing at a dice roll. I mean, how many people stand around and roll the dice and then spend 10 minutes laughing at it? But we've all had one of those rolls, haven't we?
It's better to laugh at somebody
So
else's misery, though.
Well, yeah, true, maybe.
for me.
I think Steve's saying he's taking the fifth on it. He just, I think Steve, we know you're addicted. We've seen you posting on the group.
I know it was Nordheim
That's,
Gaming. I'd plead the fifth on that
oh, is that
question.
noise? I'm sorry,
Steve's, but I'm
I
not
haven't got my
addicted.
glasses on. All right, hold on a second. He's pleading the fifth, right? Oh, I have some my glasses on. Sorry about
Your
that.
phone is just trying to
Keep
focus on
talking,
you.
Sam.
Your phone is struggling to keep up focus with you. You're doing too much of this.
I know I'm doing too much moving around. I don't know whether I can fix the focus. Maybe I can. I don't know. And I kind of didn't want to faff around in the middle of the call. Shall I try or shall I
No,
not
it's
try?
fine. You
Okay.
just hold down the screen though, don't you? And then it fixes the focus.
I don't know. Let's try it. That work?
Yeah, looks all right.
Okay. We'll
Just
see.
don't move around too
Sorry,
much.
Sam.
It's fine. Oh no, it's doing it
I'm
again.
not going to move. I'm just
Never
going to
mind.
sit.
We'll find another alternative. You've come from the mountains. It's fine. Anyway. Okay, so when did I get into it? Probably the same thing as a kid. I think a lot of people get into this hobby as a kid. So mine was like 15 years ago, at least, I think. When you were probably on your 15th army or something.
All right. Yeah, yeah. I'm a little bit older than you, Sam.
So yeah,
Thanks,
well,
man.
I went to the Derby store, Derby Games Workshop store, and there was me and my mate Bill, my mate Craig, my mate Steve. There was the four of us. There was a few others as well, but they're the main ones. We used to go to the Games Workshop every week, and at the time there was Chris Peach, who is a legend and still works for the Games Workshop. He does, I think, he's the one of the painters for GW now. But he was actually no, it was Chris Pritchard. He was the manager first, and Chris Peach was working there as a staff
Mm.
member, and he got me addicted to Imperial Guard. So it's his fault alone. And then from that point on, I was hooked, and we'd be there every single week, and we'd be joining in with their campaigns. Duncan, who is obviously part of Warhammer TV, he started working at Derby as a staff member those many years ago. So he
Your
did.
paints.
He taught us how to paint. I think it was more Chris Peach that taught me how to paint. Maybe I should have spent more time with Duncan. Well, then saying that, Chris
Singing
Peach
paints.
is painting for GW, so it should be fine. So yeah, we did a bunch of stuff there. We did campaigns, we did painting lessons, and there was tons of enthusiasm in the store. So I was hooked. I'd be there every single week. So that's what got me,
Right.
initially. Then I kind of fell out of love with it because everything else happens. You end up getting your first job and meeting people, and I didn't pick it back up until I was about 23, probably 23, 24, and we'd moved to where we are now and settled down, bought a house, and I had more money. So obviously you can then buy more stuff, which was great. As a kid, you're ending up getting toilet rolls for scenery and pieces of plastic that you just like stick on the side of a whatever tin can and call it a dreadnought. It was rubbish. It was all your imagination. I may as well play D&D or something. We shouldn't have bothered with a miniature game when I was that young. But when I was older, yeah, you could just buy whatever you wanted. So basically bought every army under the sun and didn't even complete half of them because I'm a butterfly and I can't stick with an army. And then because I loved it so much, I applied to work at GW. So I worked for them for 2 years and ran a store, and that was awesome. That was like probably the most fun I've had in years, especially for work. They pay you to, interact with people that love the hobby that you're doing yourself. So that was absolutely amazing. That's where I met you and a bunch of the other guys. Well, pretty much all of them.
Oh yeah.
And then we decided to do the Wargamer Online thing. So that's the that's what's happened. Now I'm
Yeah,
fully addicted.
we've not really talked about how this all came about, was it? But it was a whole bunch of stuff. Maybe we should do a chat on that. Maybe we should do a bit of a chat on the sofa about what we're hoping to do with it. Really, that'd be a
Mm.
good idea because what people are seeing now on YouTube is just kind of the start of what we've got planned, really, isn't it? So there's lots more to come, and we've both been working. You more so, I think, working pretty hard over the last 12 months to get a lot of stuff in place to kind of develop this. So yeah, maybe that's worth revisiting. But indeed, it did happen, didn't it? As a chat
Mm.
outside a coffee shop in Leamington one day.
Mm. It was an interesting chat. A lot of time since.
So Kablams is on there with guessing we're talking about how long and saying hello. So come on, you guys. How long have you been in the hobby for? And you drop a comment on the live chat, please. There's a few of you out there.
Yeah, and hello Kablams as well. So that's
By
how.
the way, great.
Go on.
Go on, mate. You know, I'm going to say great name, Kablams. Like
Kablams.
that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming I'm saying it correct. It looks like it's great.
It could be Kai Blam. I don't know.
I'm going to go Kablam.
Yep. Okay, so we can probably do one more question. And we'll go with, what is your favourite gaming system or world?
Oh, crikey, favourite gaming system. I think for me, when it all boils down to everything, to be 40k, definitely. I think yes, 40k. Partly because it's what I've invested most time and effort in. Oh, and we're getting Kablam right as well. Goal for me. 31 years for Steve. Oh, since he was 12. He's never that old. So 40k, yes. I have to say, I'm liking some of the fringe games that are coming about from 40k as well. So I know that Zone Mortality is one of the older ones. But I do like taking that mechanic and playing it within different stuff. So I will be intrigued in things like Necromunda and the Gangs of Khamaran. I kind of like how they're expanding it, which for me just gives me more fun to do with the models we've got. So, saying that, I do like Age of Sigmar. I don't think I've played it enough yet to appreciate how to play it. Does that make sense? There's more to playing a war game than just understanding the rule set, isn't there?
Mm.
Or even how to bend the rules. I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about how within a game, understanding the game mechanic well to know how to move your army around, to deploy your army. You get that experience, don't you, where not just about tactics, but it's also understanding how the mechanic of the game works and how to actually create an interesting game either for yourself or for your opponent as well, which I'm into. I think it's, sometimes I might do a move that's not necessarily tactically wise, but from a narrative point of view of the game, makes an interesting dynamic. And to a degree, that's why I like the idea of Zone Mortalis, because I think you can build narrative in that. Do I turn left? Do I turn right? If I turn left is the most direct route to the enemy, but maybe if I go down there, I can create a lot on the way or something like that. So I think I've spent enough time playing 40k to bend my head around that. I'm a bit rusty. I don't play enough games. We're hoping to do more of those now and get back into it. But I think I also need to put the time into Sigmar to really kind of get to understand it as a game. I keep falling for the same trap, and I've criticised the game for it of ending up in a big smash up in the middle, But that's as much me. That's not necessarily the game system. That's me failing to kind of understand the mechanic of the free engineering combat, using the retreats and stuff like that. I've noticed when I've played it in the past, I've made assumptions about what impact that has on the gameplay, rather than actually learning to either use it or understanding it more. So I think Age of Sigmar will stand the test of time. I think it will just get better and better. I think 40k has been around long enough to be established. To a degree, they don't oversimplify 40k. I'm not sure we're going to see that.
It's more the background as well, though, isn't it? Like, it's not just the rules. Like the world itself,
yeah.
You love 40k because things like Dune and all the other films that you go on about all the time, they all are kind of mixed into 40k. What was the one you made me watch a few weeks ago? The one where they're on a spaceship and it's basically possessed, and you were saying they're pretty much traveling through the warp.
Event Horizon.
And it was supposed to be a rubbish film, and as soon as you said it's like going through the warp, I loved the entire film. I was like, yeah, this is 40k. This is the warp they're traveling in.
Yeah, exactly. For all intents and purposes, they do a warp jump and end up in the demon dimension. Whether the guy took a direct influence from 40k or whether it's just a coincidence, because it's not 40k weren't the first to come up with the idea of a sort of demony dimension war. But yeah, I love all of that. There's certain elements of that grim dark future that really, really make me smile. And there's a few stuff, a few bits in the canon, isn't there? And there's one bit sort of that says, you do a warp jump, you might end there 15 years before you set off with half your crew turned to demons and the other half killed themselves. And I love that kind of extreme nature of the universe that they all exist in. And that gothic kind of feel really appeals to me.
Well, it's also the risk, if they're willing to jump through a warp gate and maybe die, and not just die, but get possessed, and what makes them jump that far? Why would you go? Yeah, that's fine. I'll do it. I'll risk it. Like if somebody said to me, "You can jump space or whatever, but this might happen. This might happen," I'll be like, "Yeah, it's all right. I'm not bothered. I won't go."
We've got a few people admitting how long we've been in the hobby.
Yeah, I was going to say there's quite a few.
17 years or so. Kablam started as a teenager, got into it as a married grown up. The YouTube channel keeps me going. Do you guys play any non-GW games? Yes, we do. Yeah, we play a few non-GW games. We had a great. Not as many. We had a great game of Zombicide the other day. I mean, I know that's sort of the board game side of it. And we are rapidly getting into Devil's Run as well, which is a kind of Mad Max game, Route 666, which is just great fun. We're hoping to expand our game portfolio, aren't we? I think, this is the thing, there's a lot of good games out there, isn't it? Time, as ever, is an issue, particularly if you like Sam and you've got to edge highlight everything. So as soon as you've got to paint a model, you're committing to several days, even if it's just a board game.
There's just too many to jump into. That's the other thing. Like we went to
it is true. Yeah.
We went to the shop a few weeks ago, last week or whatever, and there's a outlaw game. I can't remember what it's called. Wild West Exodus, I think it might be. So that looks really
those
cool.
Models were so beautiful.
And then there's Guild Ball. I really want to try that. And Malifaux. What else was there? There's even a Conan game at the shop. I'm very tempted to pick that up just to paint up the models, and there's too many games and too little time. I wish I could split myself into like 10 mini Sams and they could just run around painting everything for me. That would be brilliant. Maybe I just need to have a few kids with Rachel. Maybe that's the idea.
I'm seeing a few familiar patterns here. The Johnsonator was started at 11, lost interest at 16, and back in it at 31, now 33. Yep. That's it, now you're stuck for life. It's a very common thing. Beers and girls distract us from the hobby. Beers and everything, mate.
Girls or boys, excuse me.
Girls or boys, exactly. I really must join our Facebook group. Make sure I don't break any rules though. You're fine. We're pretty relaxed on rules at this stage, aren't we? We're building the community. Community stuff is, we're happy for people to post stuff up. And I know there's a bunch of commission people putting stuff up. If it gets crazy where people are posting up every day, then maybe we'd sort of have but even then we'll engage with the community at that time. But
we're trying to use it so far, stuff, aren't we?
Well, yeah, I mean, and so far there are a few commission painters and stuff that have joined that community, and they've been really sensible. There's one guy, and I can't remember which one it was, and he's just doing a weekly post, which I'm fine with. Once a week he just posts up what he's been working on. That's cool.
It's more of a group, so basically the idea behind it is you can ask us questions, so we can do a Q&A session later on. The more questions they get, the more we can talk to you guys about that. You can suggest topics for future shows, and if you want to have certain guests on or whatever, you can also include that in there. And the other side of it is just to chat to other wargamers. There's tons of people that you can chat to about all sorts of games. It's not strictly 40k, it's not strictly Age of Sigmar, it's not there to be hating on stuff. So that's probably one of the only rules we'll probably put in place, which is don't abuse each other, and don't just sit there slagging off every system. If you don't like it, then just don't talk about it.
There's enough of that nonsense on the internet. You don't need to add any more to it.
So
we're getting in Frostgrave. I've actually looked at that the other day. I was watching the Terrain Tutor was working on a board for Frostgrave, I'm pretty certain of, some time ago. I don't know if it was one of his old videos or one of his more recent ones, but I did dig into the game a bit, and that does look good. And Mordheim, of course, is getting a lot. Mordheim is getting a lot of love, and that quite right. Inquisitor, that was that 54mm game, wasn't it? I wasn't really around for that, so I missed that. But I dare say I would have been quite into that.
What do you mean he wasn't around for that? Was that when you took a break?
Inqu- yeah, I think that's in my gap years, as they'd say. I can't remember Inquisitor being around when I was in there as a young man, and it had gone by the time I came back in. So
Okay.
it's that boat completely. Main game at the moment and Ninth Age. I haven't tried Inquisitor. Heard good things. Yeah. I've heard good things about it. Are the models are available anymore? They're not, are they?
eBay, and there's a lot of people converting
No.
stuff as well. John was saying
eBay.
in the Facebook
Yeah.
group
Okay.
he was going to get the Marnius, not Marnius Calgar, Gilliman model and chop them and convert them into Inquisitor scale models, but he said it was slightly too small in the end for 54 mil. But you know, you could still
Really?
play it.
Okay.
So that's it.
Yeah.
Kibbalam sounds great. I was thinking in terms of posting my own YouTube stuff. Didn't want to tread on your toes. No, again, if it's like every video every day, then just try not to spam, basically. But the Wargamer Vikings posted up one of his so far. It's a community. We'll just regulate it as needs to be. So feel free.
Yeah, that's a community. Exactly that. It's a community page. People are doing stuff in the community. We don't want to take over the YouTube world and deny the existence of anybody else. Lots of people producing great content. We've had a giggle with Wargamer Viking. I think you interviewed him the other week, didn't you?
Yeah. Really good
And
interview with him.
he's been kind enough to mention it on his channel, and also Elite Beer as well has been pretty solid in sort of spreading the word. I think that aspect of the community is what's is wargaming at its best, isn't it? That's just people extending that wargamer mentality to the online community. So all good stuff.
I think I'll finish off with
Models.
my favourite gaming system of world. Then we'll answer more questions, and then we'll wrap
Oh,
it
go
up.
on. We'll let you talk.
Then
Yeah,
we'll
we'll let you
wrap it
talk. Sam. Sorry.
Do you not care about my favourite system, Phil?
I know what it is.
No, you don't.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
You give me a guess. Would it be Silver Tower?
Oh, it might be eventually when I play it.
Come on, then. You tell me.
It's Age of Sigmar! Age of Sigmar! Love it.
Ah, okay. Sorry, Nordheim has just said ninth. I didn't know what that was. It's a community-driven project to continue the 8th edition. Nice idea.
A lot of people
On that
didn't like
world.
Age of Sigmar. See, not like me, where I love it. I love Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, but if you don't want to give up on it, if you've invested stuff and the community wants to continue with that, that's all good.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, there's nothing stopping you introducing the new races into the ninth, is there? If a community is driving a alternative, I'm assuming they're kind of driving an alternative storyline, a sort of parallel dimension.
They could just be continuing it, just saying the old world
So you
didn't
can
get
bring
destroyed.
the new models in, and yeah. Why not?
These
That's all good
pirates
fun.
turned up. They just rolled up on the old world and joined in the fight. You can easily do it. So, yeah, Age of Sigmar is my favourite, and that's because it's fantasy based. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, I've always loved fantasy. I loved 8th edition. Me and Rachel played hours and hours and hours of 8th edition, and when it changed to Age of Sigmar, everybody slated it. I was a little bit, it was new, so most new things you don't like until you try it a little bit more. So when they released the points for it, then it worked for me perfectly. But before that, it was a matter of just chucking models on the table that I liked. It didn't work for brilliantly because I don't have any restriction. If somebody says to me, play with what you want, I'll just put down my coolest models and not think how nasty that will be for the game itself. So without points, the game Age of Sigmar didn't work for me. With points, it's my favourite game. And it's the fantasy, it's the magic as well. I know you've got psychic powers in 40k and other games, but I love the a bright wizard with fireballs just burning things to pieces. I love that, and the old style weaponry and armor. And like you were saying about the dwarves, I don't really want them to go any further than what they've done with that, but that works because it's steampunked.
Yeah.
So it's not a problem.
I think we've got a couple of things in here. The Johnsonator saying, watch a few Sigmar bat reps, can't get into it. They too magic down on the ninth, I'm assuming, so it's balanced. Maybe we should do a Sigmar battle report then, because I've got my Silver Nef army, and you've got your Aurochs, so maybe we should
my
do
Iron
something.
Jaws. I love my Iron Jaws.
Iron Jaws, that was it, your Iron Jaws. I mean, I have to say, with Sigmar, initially it didn't appeal to me. I wasn't heavily invested in fantasy, so it's not that I had that against it, that it was changing what I was sort of, what I was used to or invested into. And I have to say, first game, didn't quite get it. Second game, didn't quite get it. Third game, absolutely fell in love with it. I really did enjoy it. I had a great third game. And we played against Luke, who I think he's not been on the channel yet, has he? But I played a game against Luke with his crazy chaos stuff. And we just laughed our socks off for 2.5 hours solid. The whole game was just laughing at each other, laughing at misfortune, laughing at fortune. You know, it's just fantastic. And it was one of those games where you go, yeah, that's why I war game. And it was good fun. And we were just, to a degree, at the very end of the game, we were like rooting for each other, which seemed so crazy. But you were just like, come on, you can do this. You know, it was like the kind of way you just forget that actually, if they do well, that means you're not going to do well. You know, it really works. Yeah, I want to play more. I want to play more.
But the other reason I like Age of Sigmar quite a lot is the game lends itself to combat and the fighting phase a lot more than 40k. With 40k, I always end up, it's always shooting. I know it's supposed to be a futuristic game with guns and tanks, but you generally, to get the most out of armies, you just sit back and shoot everything with high strength weaponry. And for me, you end up arguing over line of sight and cover and all sorts. Whereas Age of Sigmar, you just charge at each other. You can still use tactics and you can still shoot stuff. You can still cast all sorts of magic, and the scenery rules change the game as well as scenarios. But it just feels a lot more like a war rather than a target range.
So I just want to say, I think I'm not the only person who thinks this, but arguing over line of sight is that's not in the rules. You don't have to do that.
I know it's not in the rules, but that's what happens.
You can just go, yeah, all right.
Kabalam says, I play DE Coven in 40k, so it's all still combat for me. I actually love it when I play against combat armies, when I'm shooting them to pieces.
I need to add some Dark Eldar to my Eldar. I think I need to do that. I think I need to do it now. I might have to go and shop. I suddenly feel the need, actually.
I was talking to Mike about that yesterday. I was thinking if I pick a 40k army now rather than waiting for 8th edition, I'll probably do Dark Eldar because I wanted to do a pirate army. Now those dwarves have come out, I can do a pirate army and Age of Sigmar instead. So do a Dark Eldar, go ahead, you can do them. I'll pick something else.
You paint Dark Eldar too well, though. So you know, I've seen what you've done for some of the videos, and the problem is to a degree, you know, when you see something done that well, you go, oh, you know.
They're all they're on the website actually, aren't they? When the premium stuff's available, you can see how to paint green, blue, red, and yellow Dark Eldar. We've done.
The yellow is amazing. The yellow is beautiful.
The yellow, I really like it. It's just so simple to do, but with some freehand wasp symbols on it or markings, it just makes it stand out. So they look really cool. So yeah, the rules, I love the rules. The story, I love how it's been restarted in a way, so they can do anything they want with it, and they have done with the dwarves. They've just gone, yeah, we're doing steampunk, and nobody from the old world is going to complain about it because it's new. You know, they've done that now. They can say anything. They can bring in any story or army, and they can make it fit with Age of Sigmar. So I do like that it is going to be original and new stuff that they can release from now on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's my favourite gaming system or world.
Cool.
So we've had just over an hour of lovely topics. So thank everybody. Well, we'll say thanks to everything basically. Cheers for joining. Thanks for joining in on the live chat. Go on.
Can I just make a couple of plugs? Is that all right? I think just a reminder, you know, Wargamer Vikings out there pushing hard for Chilcon. Yeah, and I think that's great. It's a charity event as well, so they're raising money for charity. So if you don't know about it, then just look up Viking, Wargamer Viking, check out Chilcon. We've covered him a couple of times. I think it's worth a shout out because I kind of appreciate what he's trying to do there.
Oh, Rob Norton's. Rob Norton's just joined the chat.
Hey, Rob.
I wonder if he's got his orc yet. His Auric.
I don't. It's on its way, Rob. I'll send you. I'll post a video up on the community channel. Not a video, sorry. I did a photo on the community channel. Which, sorry, I've been at work this week, but I will post it up on the community channel. But it is on its way to you, sir.
You have to let us know when it arrives.
Hey, Mr. Graham. Oh, like everybody's saying hello now. We're signing
Everyone's
off.
turned up. Maybe we should just do another hour. We've got more
Oh
questions.
no, Rob's on the 3 foot of snow. Of course, America's absolutely hammered, isn't it? So we had a really sunny day today, Rob. I don't want to upset you, but I was actually meeting with someone who was getting on a flight to the US later today, so he was looking forward to catching a bit of snow. So yeah, but stay safe out there, Rob. A lot of snow. Take it from Chuck Norris's brother.
Under 3 foot of snow. Okay. So, yeah, ChillCon. If you just go back to the interview that we had with Wargamer Viking, that gives you all the information for ChillCon on there because he went through it in quite a bit of detail. So definitely check that out, that video out.
Hmm.
Thanks, Phil, for joining me.
No problem.
And thanks everybody
Good
on
to
the
see you
chat
again.
who's joined us and joined in with the chat. It's been a lot more vocal, I'm going to say. It's been more vocal. There's been more chatting today, so that's great. We'll try and do more live chats. If you guys guys and girls like live chat more than the recorded ones, let us know as well in the comments after this video goes up. And if you do join us on the Facebook page, or if you want to leave comments on this video for any topics, any questions you want to leave us for next week, feel free. And if you haven't subscribed already, if you can subscribe to the channel and also like the video as well, that would be brilliant. And if you've got any Wargamer friends or anybody else who you think would like the channel, get them on here as well. That's pretty much all from me. Anything from you, Phil?
No, I just with one quick question coming in. Are we going to Adepticon this year? I have answered on the chat anyway, but not this year. But we are looking at some of the US events for next year, and hopefully we're going to try and make it out to some of them as well.
Yeah.
Thanks all.
Plus money. Okay, see you all later. Well, see you all next week, next Wednesday. Have a good one.
Bye.